Hey everyone, it's Nux, and today I am back with yet another Sonic the Hedgehog video. Last time we talked, it was about the upcoming Sonic movie for 2019, and it seems like that alone will make 2019 a really eventful year for Sonic, alongside Team Sonic Racing and some other stuff. But today's topic will be a response to something speculated for 2019, and not necessarily confirmed. The topic is about the possibility of a Sonic Adventure remake. So right now, there's some small speculation that a remake of Sonic Adventure from the Dreamcast could happen. This is by no means confirmed, or even definitively hinted at by Sega themselves. The closest evidence we have is some tiny, but kinda nonsense clues from the Sonic Twitter. And if the hinting that Twitter did prior to the announcement of Sonic Forces taught me anything, it's to not put my hopes into vague teases. I still can't believe they were hinting at a possible Mattering collab, and it led to nothing. But yeah, this little idea has picked up quite the traction among the community. Some other Sonic YouTubers have made videos about it, and all this talk definitely has made me think about my own thoughts on the subject. So what do I think about a potential Sonic Adventure remake? Honestly, I almost do not want a Sonic Adventure remake. Now, at first listen, this should be extremely surprising, because anyone who truly knows me knows that Sonic Adventure is not only one of my favorite Sonic games, it's one of my favorite games of all time. I loved both Sonic Adventure and its sequel back on the Dreamcast, and while a big part of that belongs to nostalgic memories, I will still argue that these games were important because they are what stood Sonic the Hedgehog out as a character beyond others like Super Mario. The thing that I definitely understand is that the adventure games were not perfect. They were far from it, but I still think both games are good. They just get a bad rep these days from harsh criticism, critiquing them as if they were made in 2018. Some of their flaws can be exaggerated, but I do know that there is a lot to be desired because of that old age within the games. But remakes could fill in those voids. A remake for Sonic Adventure, and even its sequel, could really be beneficial towards making them so much better. Not only would remakes be a good chance to go in and fix their flaws, but it could be a good chance to redefine the games entirely. There is just so much potential. I even have my own ideas as to how they could approach remaking the Sonic Adventure games, and may even do a separate video on that if you guys would like to see it. But let's rewind back to the bold statement of earlier, being that of almost not wanting a remake of Sonic Adventure. With all of this opportunity, why on earth would I not want a remake of Sonic Adventure? Well, let's just cut to the answer. I do not trust current Sonic team or Sega to remake it. As you all know by now, I've been heavily against the new direction of Sonic. It's had its moments, but it has led to so much garbage within the franchise to where I almost can't recognize the series. Over these last few years, I've lost a lot of trust and respect in both Sonic Team and Sega. I think they have become very incompetent, and the way they've treated the fanbase and the franchise as a whole has been disgusting. If these same people, who are basically a shell of their former selves, were the ones to be trusted with a remake of Sonic Adventure, I would almost assume it is dead on arrival. It's not even the fear that they would make the remake as a bad game. It's sad to say, but another bad Sonic game is not something I wouldn't expect from these teams in the current state that they are in. No, my issue is that they will ruin Sonic Adventure as a game for me, by sucking its unique charm out of it and selling it on shelves as a puppet of the game I once knew and loved. A full-on remake of a game, aside from a few exceptions, is a once-in-a-lifetime chance. If they screw up a Sonic Adventure remake, there is no other chance really, especially with how few chances 3D Sonic gets in comparison to 2D Sonic. Now, people have been saying that with the Adventure formula as a whole for the longest, claiming that stuff like SA3 or an adventure game in general only has a one-shot chance to be good. But I don't believe that. They could always go back and make a proper new adventure game at some point. Yes, 𝗂𝗃 is a big golden goose, but if a game is good, it can do well, big name or not. With a Sonic Adventure remake, screwing that up is basically squandering a chance to specifically change the rep of that game. And while to some people, and even Sega themselves, that might not be important, it is to me and any other fans of the adventure games. Almost every detail matters. Sega messing anything up even slightly can personally ruin the enjoyment of these games. It could even ruin some potential towards the future. As I've said, remaking the original Sonic Adventure could be a good way to get 3D Sonic as a whole back onto its feet. But with all this talk and fear of them possibly screwing it up, I should explain why I have so much of this fear of Sega and Sonic Team messing up a remake of Sonic Adventure. So here are some examples of many things Sega could screw up easily. Number 1. The gameplay. Sega and Sonic Team do not get 3D Sonic gameplay. Right now, their strategy boils down to wild experimental gimmicks. And when they aren't doing that, the one consistent style we have is the dull style of boost corridor gameplay for 3D, which isn't fully 3D thanks to mostly being ruled by shoved in 2D sections. You see, one of the biggest reasons I fell in love with the adventure games is it felt like a grand adventure even through its gameplay. Everything felt open and alive, whether it be from the hub worlds, the bigger levels, the new locations, and all of that. The openness of the gameplay gave this satisfying feeling, and that's something that cannot be replicated with the boost formula, especially in the condition it is in after Sonic Forces. If an adventure remake was reduced to on-rails automated boosting with long 2D sections for most of its level design, what is even the point? Because that is not what Sonic Adventure is to me. That also goes for the control, where adventure through characters' jumps and movements had an open smoothness to it, especially with Sonic. Again, stiff boosting wouldn't allow that. So yeah, if Sonic Adventure's gameplay didn't feel at least close to what it once was, I don't know if I could say this game succeeded in being a remake in the gameplay department. Number 2. The story. Now, you're probably thinking, but Nux, how could they screw up a story that's already been written? Sonic Adventure didn't have the most complex story anyway, not to mention, its presentation is pretty dated, so it shouldn't be that hard to top, right? In a way, you're not wrong. There is room for the story presentation of Sonic Adventure to grow a lot, and it can be edited in a way that allows it to flow much better. The issue is, I fear it won't improve, but actually be worsened somehow. And how exactly can they worsen Sonic Adventure's story? Easy. Firstly, by bringing in the current cast for the Sonic series as opposed to some of the original cast of Sonic Adventure. Now, listen. Some of the modern cast isn't that bad, I'll admit, like Mike Pollock as Eggman, but a whole lot of it is just not good for Sonic, and I especially dislike the current voices for Sonic and Knuckles. No offense to the voice actors themselves, but their voices just do not fit the characters well at all. With Sonic, Roger Craig Smith's take on him has just gotten worse with each game, where Sonic sounds less like a cool, young, attitude-filled hedgehog to a late 50s man who sounds bored and mildly amused at everything. With Knuckles, it's worse to where his current voice doesn't even sound remotely close to how he used to sound. Knuckles used to be so chill and even had a certain roughness in his voice that made him sound tough and all cool-like, but he just sounds like an average Joe now. Basically, the current voice director sucks. If you're going to do a remake, I don't ask that you try to track down all the original cast per se, but at least try to get some voice actors that sound much more like your characters. Especially with Sonic Adventure, where while the acting was cheesy for sure and dated, at least most of the voices fit their characters pretty well. Another huge fear I have is them going out their way to change events of the story with new dumb elements or trashy dialogue, attempting to break the fourth wall because of the modern mentality that Sonic shouldn't have stories that take themselves seriously. Sonic doesn't need to be overly edgy like in some past games, but he also doesn't need to be a wannabe Deadpool. End of story. Besides, Sonic Adventure has one of the most balanced Sonic stories in the first place, so it shouldn't be touched but rather improved with small changes for the benefit of the game, not for the sake of dumb jokes. Number 3. The music. Honestly, I almost wouldn't want them to touch the game's music even if they were kind of competent. Sonic Adventure's soundtrack is easily one of the series' best, and it defines the spirit of the Sonic franchise in one of its strongest forms. They would guarantee screw up multiple songs, if not the whole soundtrack, by remixing them with the current direction for Sonic music. The last thing I need is that Sonic Forces synth or hyper potions making their way into Open Your Heart or any other tracks I really love from the adventure games. Yeah, no thank you. I do not want any of that pop techno trash in replacement of Adventure's music. I'm open to remixes and new tracks in an Adventure remake, but just not if it's going to be like their current music direction for Sonic. And number 4, missed opportunity galore. You know how I said that a remake like this could be a great chance to go in and fix some of the game's biggest flaws? Knowing Sega, not only would they remake maybe just the bare minimum, but I could see them even lacking on basic things the game got right in the first place. Again, gameplay being one of the key examples. If they screw up a remake, it's missed opportunity to do so many things with the original game. And will Sega care? Nope. They'll just blame it on the original game as opposed to taking responsibility for making a worse version of a good game. So with all these points, this is why I almost do not want a remake, remaster, or whatever you want to call it, of Sonic Adventure. I mean, I obviously do want Sonic Adventure or Sonic Adventure 2 to be remade with all sorts of improvements and even new ideas, but I want it done right and not half-baked, and that's a lot to ask with current Sega and current Sonic team. So, do I truly see no hope for a proper remake of Sonic Adventure? Well, I see one glimmer of hope. Basically, unless Sega and Sonic team get it together out of thin air, the only hope as of right now is for them to outsource it to another studio. While this doesn't get rid of all the potential problems that could come with a remake, I would honestly be more willing to put faith in another studio than Sega's Sonic teams right now. Perhaps they could give 3D Sonic the justice it needed for a ridiculously long time. That or the future of 3D Sonic as a whole is destined to be screwed. My thoughts being this way are just due to how I have little to no optimism in Sonic left, but a part of me is always open to see if eventually things will turn around. But I stay closed-minded because I've just had my trust way too broken at this point. Well, that's pretty much all I've got to say on that. I know that my thoughts could be seen as pretty harsh to some of you, but considering the build up to this point, can you really be surprised or blame me? But yeah, I guess I'll ask, hopefully not with regret, what you guys think about a potential Sonic Adventure remake. Do you really think Sega can do it themselves? Is there a specific outside studio you think could do it better? Let me know in the comments below. Alright guys, this has been Nux, and I'm out. Peace.